I can be a bit of an unreliable narrator, not on purpose, but I just wanted that to be known. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. A real long time. Where to begin?
Well, I threw up just before the first Avatar started, in the stall of the public bathroom back in 2009. No one was in there, so they didn't hear me. And now I'm finally getting to see the sequel, which I have been very much anticipating. I have an addiction, you see, to dextromethorphan. It's a little red pill I've been taking made by Robitussin or some other off-brand, if not available, for the last, almost 18 years now, I think. The first movie I ever saw on DXM, which I shall now refer to it as, was The Skeleton Key, so for reference you can Google that and see when that came out, and that is when my addiction started. But this isn't about my addiction, this is a circumstantial movie review of Avatar, The Way of Water. But basically, in a nutshell, this drug of mine which I latched onto in secret, no one in my life the wiser, was something I would take and then go see a movie at the theater as I was going up, if you will, and so that it made watching these movies as if I was in the movie. I've always loved movies, even before this whole fiasco even started, so when I watched The Skeleton Key, I was there, with Kate, and ironically enough, if you've seen the film, I myself locked myself in that little circle and have been stuck in it for quite some time now. Not to say I haven't had some fun along the way, but it's overall bad and needs to stop, but I can't. I'm trying. I have. But movies just keep coming out. I fucking love tripping out on DXM and going to see movies. The best ones to see for me are horror first, then after that like a big sci-fi spectacle works as well, and thrillers/action work too. It puts me in the movie, it literally makes me feel the feelings the people on screen are having. It's wild. So Avatar, The Way of Water. Obviously now you might see why this is such a big moment for me. I mean, this movie was made to be seen high as shit. So I've seriously been waiting 13 years to see this movie, and now it's coming up close. It's almost 4 months away, and I have been sober for almost a year. And I'm living at my parents' house, gag, not anymore thank goodness, I got out, but at the moment before I was living with them staying sober, obviously, like I wouldn't even want to do it around them, it wouldn't be any fun, and then of course once I move out into my own apartment, gotten I may add by my own volition and sweat from a job. And I will never move back in with them again, you have my word on that, it's been made certain. So once I move into the apartment, of course I start getting high again with various things, but hey, this time I actually keep my job and I'm kinda sorta holding it together. The movie I go see to do DXM for the first time in a while was Barbarian, and what an experience that was, but that was like 4 months ago, and I've decided to start with Avatar, The Way of Water, even though I probably should have started with Barbarian, and of course now I've procrastinated so long. Avatar, The Way of Water came out 2 months ago. Whatever. So I'm doing my thing, working, and getting fucked on the weekends, but also getting just regular marijuana high after work, which is its own problem in its own right, and that started when I went to college at 18, and I'm 38, now by the way. And there are other vices too, but DXM just ties in with the movies, and is the reason I needed to introduce it. I was working at UPS. A very physical job, loading boxes into trucks and whatnot. Why you people keep ordering a bunch of shit? My goodness, we don't need all this crap. Oh, right. Location. I saw Avatar, The Way of Water at the AMC Berrywoods in Kansas City, Missouri. I live just nearby on the border in Kansas. I lived in Los Angeles for a while but was born in Kansas, and I'm back now because of drugs and bad choices. I chose Berrywood specifically because it's the only nearby IMAX theater that has laser, and I wanted to see Avatar, The Way of Water in the best possible conditions, though I understand some people don't like that high frame rate look, but it is what I wanted, and that location was a little bit away from me than I would normally go for a movie. About a half an hour drive. There are plenty of other options near me. I live in Kansas, yes, this is true, and when I tell people who don't really know, they have a certain image in their mind, I gather, and where I live that image is just not true. I'm 20 minutes from downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, this is a bustling, lively, and very evolving part of the country. So there is the rub you see for when I go see these movies. Once the film is over, I am officially high as shit or tripping or whatever you want to call it. It's almost akin a little to being drunk off alcohol, I'd say, and while I shouldn't be driving, of course I still do. And I want to see Avatar, The Way of Water really high. So I'm going to do a high dosage. But that means driving is an issue. And what to do? Well, my calls were answered. Nathan. My best friend. He lives in Los Angeles now, but we met in Kansas in high school and as of late have kind of sort of lost touch. We are both on our separate paths, but we lightly keep in touch. He is my life friend, and we are men, so it's like I guess not a big deal for a few years or months to go by and not see him or talk or whatever. Anywho, Nathan always comes back to Kansas for Christmas, and hey, old Cameron and Disney know to release those Avatar films in December for maximum profit, and it works out great. Nathan is coming back and asks if I want to go see Avatar, The Way of Water together. Perfect. Well, not perfect. Nathan knows about my addiction, that's not the problem, and the problem isn't really a problem and I move forward, but I see movies by myself, on DXM that is. There have been a few random times through the decades with another, but seriously I can count them on one hand. So I'm like, okay, I'll have to go with him to see it at the faraway theater, but then of course Nathan can drive me back home. This is an allowance I'm willing to make since I know him so well and I feel comfortable doing it, telling him I'm doing it and going forward with it. Before Nathan arrives in December, he asks me if it would be okay if his ex-girlfriend came to the movie as well, and I say, wait, what? So if ex-girlfriend is coming to Kansas, does that mean no longer ex? As you recall, me and Nathan haven't really been keeping in touch, so I'm not really in the loop on his life. So I think to myself, well, maybe they got back together, who knows, but I also think to myself that Nathan's ex-girlfriend Megan is great. She's great. I barely know her throughout the years they dated, but she's great. She's the only person he's dated I've genuinely liked, so I say yeah, that is fine, it's okay if she comes along. Now, I'm pretty sure she is not aware of my addiction, but again, she's super cool, it won't be a problem for me, I know this. Nathan is an AMC Stubs member, and so he buys the tickets. I tell him please get somewhere in the middle section, and he does. Time passes, and it is finally the weekend of the movie. My job is an early AM shift that starts at 3 a.m., and so I get off around 9 or 10 a.m., and so we are going to go see the 2:15 p.m. show, and I know AMC, as of late, is going real hard on all those fucking ads and trailers and Nicole, and the movie will start at 2:45 p.m. 30 fucking minutes, I swear they have before. Give it up. Nicole, how much did you get paid for that? I mean, I get it, I'm with you, but it's just, no. I am in Kansas, and it is 2022, and I also need marijuana to go along with this trip. I have to have marijuana when I do a trip on DXM. They pair like peanut butter and jelly. I have to procure some pot. I try a few avenues unsuccessfully. Finally, I find someone at work, and holy the whole process takes from me asking them to me finally having all the products in my hand 10 freaking days. It was absurd. So sketchy this person was, but I'm not going into that. I got the pot a few days before the movie. Just in the nick of time. Wait, I'm getting this mixed up. I first got the pot back when I went to go to see Barbarian. That was when the sketchy 10-day thing happened. After that I found something way more reliable and got my pot from there on out. Avatar, The Way of Water came out on December 16th, 2022, and we had tickets for the next week's show of that Saturday, which would have been Christmas Eve, 2022, at 2:15 p.m. at AMC Berrywoods 24 in the middle section. Nathan and Megan came over to my apartment beforehand so I could finish up my carefully planned out swallowing of those 60 little red pills, and we drove the 30 minutes to the theater. It was pretty full. There was a stranger sitting to the right of me. Someone down at the end of the row had brought a blanket and had it laid out on their lap, and as we walked past them I told her that that was a good idea. Recliner chairs, one button for headrest section and another for the feet. The trailers start. I usually don't watch them because 1, I've already seen them, and 2, I don't watch trailers to movies I want to watch in order not to ruin them. My movie sense is way too in-tuned, and so if I watch a trailer to a movie my brain can piece together a lot of shit and it ruins the surprise of watching a film unfold. Nathan watches the trailers, as does Megan. Nathan is sitting in the middle, which makes sense. Why would I sit next to Megan? Now the 3D trailers begin. Nathan and Megan put their 3D glasses on. I do not. I continue to look down. I can be a bit of a movie snob, I'm seeing that right now, lol. Nathan chuckles and says to me how dark and shitty the 3D conversion is for the trailer that is showing, which I want to say was Ant-Man 3. I graduated from SMNW and Paul Rudd graduated from SMS, or was it SMN? I'm not gonna look it up. He tells me to put mine on and look to see. I very quickly put mine on and take a quick gander, and all looks normal but to me, because my good friend has already inceptioned me, if you will, I say, and think, well, maybe it is a little off and that maybe Nathan is just being dramatic. How interesting is that moment? How easily I was swayed from my own truth. How scary it can be to be led astray by false things, whether intentional or not. Trailers end. IMAX does their tag thing and the movie starts. Nathan is a bit fidgety. There is a scene that requires subtitles. Nathan takes off his 3D glasses, which were not 3D glasses, but his sunglasses. Yes, he put on his sunglasses, and that is why the 3D conversion looked so dark to him. This was a hilarious moment that I will never fail to bring up at various points for the remainder of our lives. But again, that moment, there was certainly a lesson for me. Now me and Nathan have seen many movies together, and when we go to the theater we are very respectful and we may have comments, etc., but we are not those people, and I never will be and never have been. But I found Nathan to be quite a bit chatty during our viewing of Avatar, The Way of Water. This was unexpected. I engaged with him throughout the movie. Luckily, since it was IMAX and the movie is so frickin' loud at points, we were able to have comments, and the girl next to me was not affected in the least. In fact, at certain points Nathan said things to me which I did not hear at all and just fake laughed and nodded. I'm also continuously getting higher and higher, mind you, so it was a bit of a juggling act for me. I wasn't upset. Not in the slightest. I just knew I wasn't getting the full immersion into the film I was looking for. And also it can be fun to have comments about the film to a friend. These comments are almost always jokes. After the movie we walk back to the car. I am just completely lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm so happy that Nathan is driving and Megan lets me sit in shotgun. I'm off in La La Land and they know it, but I am still able to communicate with them. A DXM trip is not like an acid or shrooms trip, at least at the level I like to stay at, in which I can still fully operate more or less for what I need to do, but if you took 1 second to really inspect me you could tell I was on something. We all have a very good and hearty laugh about the sunglasses mishap. Nathan and Megan drop me off and I spend the remainder of my trip in the darkness of my apartment. And usually I watch a second film later on, but I can't remember what it was. And later on at another point I spoke to Nathan about how I couldn't really hear him a lot during the movie and that a few times I just nodded and said yes, but didn't hear him.
Did I finish Avatar, The Way of Water? Yes, through the credits.